John McClain is a longtime columnist. He's been a columnist of Oilers, Texans for 30 years. And he's covered everything in that town, and everybody reads him. And this morning, he is saying, trade him. And they should. Finally, somebody gets it. Remember how this game works. If you don't trade him for free agency, 2 or 3 teams get a quarterback. If you don't trade him for the draft, another 5 teams get their quarterback. What happens? There's probably only 1 team left that needs a quarterback. There goes your bidding war. I could make an argument. This is the perfect time to trade Deshaun Watson. Number one, he's coming off his best statistical year. What does that mean? His trade value's never been higher. It's only 2 years ago. People liked him a lot, but worried about his injuries. He wasn't an elegant thrower. Now he's off his greatest year. Number 2 is the Jets, Dolphins, and Carolina. You got a bidding war. You have a bidding war. Jets and Dolphins in division don't want to have to face him. They'd rather have him. Number 3, it's a very strong year for quarterbacks in the draft. Next year's a terrible year for quarterbacks in the NFL draft. This year's a great year. Number 4, Deshaun is completely healthy. Remember, and I've said this about Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has 1 more injury. Deshaun has another injury. All of a sudden you get that narrative. Well, you know, his trade value, he is getting older. And number 5 is the Texans are rebuilding. They just let go of their center. They just let go of running back Duke Johnson. They've already said Will Fuller's not coming back. You're rebuilding. How do you rebuild? Draft picks. You'd get a boatload. You don't rebuild with free agency because free agents don't want to go to losing teams. So everything lines up. Remember, sometimes you just have to, in life, take the telescope and turn it. The pandemic's a great example. You can look at it every day as an obstacle or look at it every day as an opportunity because you're shut inside to be closer to your family. I mean, how are you going to view it every day? You want to be morose and you want to be negative, or you think to yourself, I'm going to get as close to my kids. We're off the treadmill. We're jammed inside. We can't go out. What we've tried to do in my family. The NFL is not the NBA. You see all the time in the NFL, you trade the star and you win the trade. That's how Jimmy Johnson built the Cowboys. Their best player was Herschel Walker. Jimmy Johnson decided on a jog in the afternoon, how do we rebuild this thing? He's our asset. Let's trade our asset. They ended up getting Pro Bowlers and draft picks. The New England Patriots, in 20-plus years of that dynasty, moved off stars all the time. It's not ideal. You'd rather have Patrick Mahomes forever. You'd rather have a top running back, Zeke, forever. But this is not the NBA where if you lose a LeBron or a Kawhi, it's over. You lost the trade. It's just a matter of how bad did you lose it. That is not the NFL. Sometimes in the NFL, you just got to rip the Band-Aid off. The Raiders did not get crushed in that Khalil Mack trade. Had they not whiffed on their first-round pick for a pass rusher, they would have gotten a Pro Bowl running back and a top 5 edge rusher. They just whiffed on their pick. So this game is not complicated. When a star wants out, the longer you wait, the less you get back. If you wait through free agency and don't take a call, you know, the Jets will get their quarterback or the Dolphins will get their quarterback or the Bills will get their quarterback. There's 3 teams off the market. Then in the draft, 4 or 5 teams off the market. Then you're left with no bidding war. You got maybe 1 or 2 teams max. It's the time. Turn the telescope around. Finally, a voice in Houston. Take calls, get it done. Deshaun Watson has reportedly told them, I will never wear this uniform again. Okay. Guys, if she says, I'll never, ever again come back into the house if you live there, it's time to call a divorce attorney. You got to get out of delusion. It's time to call the divorce attorney, and it's time for Houston to take calls. So Michael Irvin's a broadcaster, former Cowboy great. He was talking the other day, probably on the NFL Network, and his quote was, the NFL quarterbacks and players now have the power to move. That's something that's been furnished to other sports. He says, but it also means they have the power to leave a team and to come to a team, and Russell Wilson wants Dak Prescott's chair. So I have a theory on this, is that when Tom Brady married Gisele Bündchen, a supermodel whose net worth is higher than Tom, she makes more than Tom. When you go home at night, what do you talk to your wife about? You talk to your wife about kids. That's a big part of it. And you talk to your wife about your businesses, if you're both professionals. Tom Brady is different since he married Giselle. His brand TB12 is bigger. He got much savvier with his business. He did more commercials. He was more from the gyms to his branding. He got a TB12 into Whole Foods in the Northeast. He's different. He's a little more global. That's his sounding board. That's his number one ally. And she's, by the way, got, a litany of professionals she works with. So she's got her professionals and the marketing people in her life. And now Tom goes home every night and listens to Giselle say, this is what I'm hearing. And it does change you. And now Ciara, Russell Wilson's wife, is not, as of terms of a brand, is not Giselle Bündchen, but she's an entertainer. And I don't think it wasn't lost on me last week when the 4 teams Russell Wilson named were all like entertainment cities. Vegas, New Orleans, Chicago, and the Dallas Cowboys. You don't think of Dallas as entertainment, but the Cowboys are entertainment. And I don't think, a couple years ago, Russell Wilson, there was a rumor out there about trading Russell Wilson, and he was unhappy. What a shock. It was New York. And I just want you to think about this. Think about Dak Prescott is about somewhere between the 8th and 12th best quarterback in the NFL. You can put him wherever you want, but that's reasonable. Dak Prescott, 2 years ago, had made $50 million in endorsements. Pepsi, Citigroup, 7-Eleven, New Era Cap, Sleep Number, Campbell's Soup. Russell Wilson had Bose. So Russell Wilson goes home in Seattle and sits in his house and watches it rain. And Dak Prescott goes to his house in Dallas and watches it rain, money and endorsements. Dak Prescott's like the 10th, 12th best quarterback in the NFL, maybe slightly better. 50 million endorsements as an NFL player 2 years ago. I heard that number this morning. I was like, what? I mean, what's Patrick Mahomes going to make? What's Aaron Rodgers make? So when I look at these, I absolutely think Russell Wilson, who is very aspirational, do I think he sits and thinks about that? Oh, all the time. There's stories like 2 weeks ago or a week ago in The Athletic where he went to the Super Bowl and he was just seething watching Brady. So not everybody is like this. Some people, they go play football. Nick Foles just wants to play football. He almost quit twice. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Russell Wilson sees himself as an all-time great. And when you see yourself as an all-time great and you're buried up in the Pacific Northwest where it's techie and coffee and rainy and not really an endorsement mecca, and then you look at Dak Prescott, and I can guarantee you he and his agent, Mark Rogers, know he's making $50 million. By this time, it could be $100 million. And if Dak is the same price as Russell Wilson's also aware of that. So there's no doubt in my mind Russell Wilson and Ciara would not lose any sleep number, if you're talking Dak, would not lose any sleep switching teams with Dak or going to the Cowboys. And by the way, the Cowboys, what do they keep showing Russell Wilson and outsiders? We like Dak. We like him, but no contract. So that's the image the Cowboys sent out to all of us, including Russell Wilson. We like Dak. So people say this wouldn't happen. I don't know. Jerry Jones, the deal maker. Pete Carroll, by the way, runs the Seahawks now. He's a deal maker. He gave up 2 first-round picks to get Jamal Adams. He may want those first-round picks back. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.